What's going on, America? This is Kevin from Kevin's Corner. And I think I might have found a real life situation. Billy Madison. Y'all remember that? Billy Madison, where what is his name? The guy who played Happy Gilmore. Anyway, Adam Sandler. Adam Sandler goes on this rant, and it sounded profound. And at the end, where everybody start clapping because they're just mindless, the guy who was listening to him and judging the performance said that is the most nonsensical thing that he'd ever heard, and everything that he said made no sense. It wasn't coherent. In fact, we are all dumber in this room for listening to you. I think I found a real situation like that. Or if you ever used to watch, say, In Living Color, where the guy went to prison and he learned all of these words, big words, but he didn't know how to put them together to make them make sense. And he'd be out there like, the ambiguities I feel never justifies the prestations of the polarities. Let me digress myself a little further, my brother. And when they went to grab him to take him out of the courthouse, he was like, undish me. I can reciprocate myself from the premises. Sound great, lots of big words, but made no sense. I found that guy on the Tucker show tonight. I think they let him loose on MSNBC and people took him seriously. But listen to this.
Listen to them explain the intricacies of the Russia conspiracy. They're mesmerized by it. It's a tale so complex, so riddled with internal contradictions, it sounds like an Eastern religion. Only they really understand it.
And that's
they
true.
mean it, and they do understand it. To them, Russia is the touchstone. It's the comprehensive theory of everything.
They're crazy.
Consider what happened, for example, last night on cable news.
Here it is.
Really could have been any night on cable news. MSNBC, CNN, take your pick. We just happened to be watching last night around 11 when this happened, so we're bringing it to you tonight because it's interesting and it tells you a lot. By the way, this is from the most serious news program that NBC offers on cable. It's called The 11th Hour. There are two people in the segment we're about to show you. The first is a man called Malcolm Nance. Now, Nance identifies himself as a 35-year veteran of counterintelligence work, whatever that means. His most recent book is called The Plot to Hack America. It was a national bestseller thanks to heavy promotion from MSNBC. The second man you're about to see is Brian Williams, who of course needs no introduction. He was the anchor of the NBC Nightly News back when that meant something. Williams is widely regarded as a good guy by people who know him, and he's absolutely, in Washington anyway, is thought of as one of the smartest people in the news business. The point is, these are not kooks on late night radio. They are considered highly impressive people. Keep that in mind as you watch this.
Are you ready?
Williams opens the segment by explaining that Russian disinformation teams have been working to divide America and convince the population, among other totally implausible things, that Jim Comey and Robert Mueller might have political agendas. Ridiculous, right? Williams asked Malcolm Nance to comment on that proposition, and Nance says this.
What Russia has done here, and where the true brilliance of this intelligence operation comes from, is
What? Oh, you know what? We can't let a stupid commercial interrupt it from YouTube. Let's continue.
way back in the early 2000s, the Russian military conducted a strategic study and started carrying out a disinformation plan in which they said that instead of carrying out kinetic warfare against your enemies, the best thing we can do is create a disinformation frame around that nation to the point where over time, as we are constantly tearing them apart and feeding them with false information, they would actually welcome an invasion.
Wow. Now that sounds profound. You know what it sounded like to me? That he was describing the Democrats. That's exactly who he was describing. Disinformation, tearing the country apart from the inside out by giving them all types of false information about Russia collusion, false information about racism, sexism, white nationalism, xenophobia, all of those things. It sounds like a playbook, a plan right out of the playbook of the Democrats, not the Russians. But nonetheless, this guy, he's saying this because he's had maybe some letters in front of his name, might have went to school for a couple weeks or so. Yeah, got him a little title, and now he's on a real TV station. Yeah, trying to convince everybody of this gibberish. Let's see more.
Oh, wait a second here. This is what we in the news business call news. So for nearly 20 years, the Russians have been building a disinformation frame around the United States. What's a disinformation frame?
Exactly.
And how does it manage to brainwash an entire population so thoroughly that they welcome a foreign invasion? I mean, that's got to be the most powerful mind control device in human history. More detail, please. This is the part of the interview where the anchor politely interrupts the guest and asks him to explain what the hell he's talking about.
Please
But
do.
Williams does not do that. He just lets Malcolm Nance keep talking. So Malcolm Nance does keep talking.
Yeah.
So Russia has done that to the United States. And it began way before 2016. As a matter of fact, the earliest references I have with relation to Donald Trump shows that it started back in 2011 with Maria Butina and the NRA contacts with the fundamentalist Christian right and the alt-right in the United States. Russia was pushing these disinformation themes. Then in 2013, they stood up the Russian Federation Internet Research Agency, which built all of these memes and tropes, which became the Cruz missiles of fake news and disinformation designed to do what it did today: take 1/3 of the United States population and make them refuse to believe what they see before their very eyes, and may have elected a president in the process.
Holy smokes. This is a tsunami of news. It turns out that Donald Trump's collusion with Russia began years before any of us suspected, way back in 2011. Here's the confusing part. In 2011, by all outward appearances, Trump was still a pretty conventional New York liberal. He went on David Letterman to read the top 10 list. He endorsed gun control. It was all a cover, a sophisticated ruse. As Malcolm Nance reveals, Trump was in fact busy plotting with the NRA, Christian fundamentalists, and the alt-right. Now keep in mind, this was years before there was such a thing as the alt-right.
Yeah.
But that's just how stealthy this operation was. Even the Steele dossier missed it. So did the rest of us, so that's not surprising, since as Malcolm Nance has explained, thanks to Russian brainwashing, 1/3 of the US population can no longer perceive reality. That's Malcolm Nance's position. What would you do if somebody repeated those exact same words to you?
Now, I don't know about you, but I feel dumber that I even let that man finish, that whole statement. I listened to it, but I had to do it for you all to see, to show you the garbage that's being spewed out by these people who they bring onto their television stations, and they begin to talk, and they don't even let that stuff go across the governor of their brain. It doesn't stop at a gate and check in and say, hey, dude, should we just let this go right out of our mouth? Because this is going to look real stupid. It's going to sound nuts. No? Keep going. Okay, fine. I'm going to do it. I don't care. I guess you don't care how dumb we look. And of course, this guy spews that out. And the funny thing about it is that he himself was giving disinformation when he is now making connections of Donald Trump colluding with Russians starting back in 2011 or something like that. Just coming up with just random stuff. Just saying, you know what? Because nobody's going to fact check me. And because I'm using big words and I'm making it sound almost poetic, they're going to believe what I'm saying, because there is also a population out there that is sitting there waiting to listen to any word that drops out of their stupid mouths that might sound like it could justify their anger towards Donald Trump. So they're like, yeah, that sounds good, long as it shows that Trump is bad and he did bad stuff and he didn't really win. We just need to know that for somehow, by some chance, some way, Donald Trump cheated and won. And it's not an indictment upon, our voting, our judgment. It was simply because they cheated. That's how they got over with this. And that makes me feel good and sleep good at night, because this idiot just got on TV and spewed out all of that stuff. And nobody said, where's your facts for this? Can you show me the data? When did Trump talk to any of these people? Do you have any evidence of this? And are you belittling our intelligence and just saying, hey, just trust me. I'm going to throw out a whole bunch of random statements, words, vowels, consonants, verbs and things like that, doesn't mean anything. So when I get finished with that, I need you to believe that all of that sums up the fact that Trump cheated to win the election. There you go. That's how much I respect your intelligence, America. And this is the stuff that they put out and say, we're not fake news. He just described everything that him, the Democrats and the funky, crooked liberal media is doing. So who's the real enemy? Is it Russia? I mean, who puts out a couple ads here and there for a couple $100, huh? Or is it the media who dedicates all their time, all day long, all their resources, all their money, paying people like him and anchors like the guy who let him get away with it to destroy the president's reputation, to belittle the people who voted for him, and to demonize him and try to destroy his whole presidency? I mean, who's the real enemy? I don't see the Russians doing any of that, but I do see him doing it. Now, you've been listening to Kevin at Kevin's Corner. I'm sorry I had to subject y'all to that garbage, but he brought that on himself. Anyway, find me Wednesday night, 7:30, live on YouTube. Also, don't forget, check me out every Wednesday, my radio blog talk show, the same time as I go live on YouTube. Check out Extreme Teas, my sponsor. You can put in the promo code, my name, and you'll get 20% off over the holidays. So check them out. The link is in the bottom. If you want to donate to Kevin and Kevin's Corner, links in the bottom to do that as well. And finally, don't forget to hit like, share, subscribe, and the notification button. God bless you. Next time in Kevin's Corner.